Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about another bank. Now I know I did a bank recently. Actually I did two of them. I made the unicorn bank, but I don't think I filmed that one, and the dragon bank. But this one is a special bank that was designed specifically for Joel Telling, the 3D printing nerd. Somehow this came up on Twitter and I thought it was the coolest idea. Somebody had mentioned the Mario question mark block as a bank. And I know that there are some that already exist on My Mini Factory, and I think there's a couple on Thingiverse, and I'm sure there are some elsewhere too, but I really wanted to kind of challenge it a little bit more and make it a single awesome print. So this is what I came up with. And to make this even better, it has a print in place plug, and the inside is curved so that you don't need supports inside. So I tried to make this as simple as possible to make in a single individual item. I had a ton of issues with the print in place plug. I can't even tell you. I ended up printing so many samples to try and figure out how to make it work. In the end, this one was the winner. I will do a close-up on this so you can see how it works. I did adjust this one a little bit before I sent it over to Joel so that he could print it, so that it wasn't quite as loose, because this one's a little loose when you're putting it in. But it was a really good exercise for me to learn about doing print in place. The first couple of attempts I was doing, they work, but they're really tight, and it seemed like every way that I did them just was too tight. This I also started with using PETG, and unfortunately it was a little too clingy. It was sticking to itself way too easily, but I think it wouldn't be a problem with the way I redesigned it. So I thought it would be really cool to show you guys exactly how I designed this in Fusion 360. So as I was doing it, I filmed it. When I got to the plug, I stopped. And I will be, while I'm on an airplane today, I will be redesigning that on Fusion 360 and filming it so that you can see how I ended up doing the plug, because I changed it a dozen times before I finally landed on the working product. So I will link to this file down below. I will also link to Joel's video, if it's up yet, about his Fan Mail Friday. I hope that you guys love this as much as I did. If you're interested in seeing how I created this awesome bank right here, then keep watching. To start off with, we're going to use a sketch, and we're going to start with the center rectangle option, and we're going to make that 130 by 130 by 130. Then we're going to add a canvas onto one of the faces and change the opacity down to about 20% so we can see the sketch through it that we're about to draw. Now to start off with, we're going to use the rectangle, and we're going to use just your basic copy and paste, and then drag the pasted one over to the spot that we're looking at. Once we get it in the right spot, we're going to do the exact same thing again and copy and paste both of the rectangles so that we've got them all four in the right spot. From here, we're going to start working on the question mark itself, and we're going to do these in two separate sections. We're going to start by looking at the orange part of the question mark, and then we're going to worry about the shadow, which is the black part. So once we've got that done, we're just going to repeat this. It doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be exact, just the basic shape is what you're looking for. The rest of it will kind of look right as you extrude the pieces out. So once you have the correct shape, you're going to start using the trim tool to get rid of all the extra lines in between so that you just have one continuous shape for the question mark and one continuous shape for the shadow. Once you've got that, it's time to start extruding these out. Now we're going to turn off the canvas so that we can see a little bit better, and we're going to extrude out the orange parts of the question mark, and then we're going to extrude back and use the cut tool the shadows. From here, we need to chamfer these edges, and the reason why I chamfered these is because I wanted to be able to print this with 0 supports. Overhang is a 45-degree angle that you know is going to be okay, but I decided to do this at a 35, which I found works just as well as a 45 does and is not quite as stark looking when you're first looking at it. So we're going to do this with a 3mm or a 6mm chamfer depending on where it is. From here, we're actually going to use the pattern, the circular pattern tool, and we're going to change this to feature, and we're going to select all the features that we want, and we are going to copy them around so that you've got them on all 4 sides of the cube. From here, we're going to select all the edges, every single one of them, of the actual box, not of the question mark itself, and we're going to chamfer those. I played around with a couple different sizes, but I thought it looked a little bit better on the shallower side, so we're going to do just an equal 45-degree chamfer on all of the edges. From here, we have to start looking at the inside. Now the inside, because we don't want to be printing this with supports, you have to think about how it's going to print. So for this, I decided to start with a curved interior, which worked pretty well, except for there was a little too much bridging at the top. So in the final product, and I'll insert a picture of this here, you can see that I did a 35-degree angle at the top into the curve, and that ended up working out really well. From there, I just extruded that out in both directions as a cut so that we could use that to cut out and hollow out the inside. Now it's time to use the same center rectangle tool on the top, and we're going to make this about the right size to insert money into the bank. And there you have your bank. Now for whatever reason, I'm not sure why this happened, when I went and rotated around using the circular pattern, all of the question mark details, none of the chamfers copied over even though they were selected. So I went around and copied those over. From here, I added another, I rolled back the edging chamfer so that I could add the dots or the little square parts to the top. This wasn't necessary, but I really thought you never see the top of the block when you're watching Mario or playing Mario, but I kind of imagined that you would still have these little divots in the top as well. I didn't want to do the question mark simply because you'd have a cut going right through it, and that seemed a little strange to me. So now that we've got that on there, we can roll the chamfer back forward, and it's time to get started on the plug. Now, as I said before, the plug was really difficult for me to figure out in the beginning, but this is what I ended up doing. I started off with a sketch, and I did the sketch in the center of the design, and I did a 45-degree angle because I wanted to make sure there were no overhang issues whatsoever when I did the other part of this. So I offset that a 0.5mm because that seemed to be a good range. It wouldn't be too big if it was scaled up. It wouldn't be too small if it was scaled down. And I basically just mocked out the shape that I was looking to do. And then from there, once I had the shape I was looking for, it was time to use the Revolve tool to kind of make a circle out of the bottom of the bank. So you'll see how I did that. Oh, I forgot, I wanted to be able to have something to grip, so I added a little hollowed out spot to the bank as well. You'll see that a little bit better in a second. So I used the Revolve tool, and then I turned on the body and used the cut tool. That way we had the hole cut out. Then I did the Revolve tool again and did the other pieces minus that curved section so that we could have the top part of the plug. Now you're looking at this and thinking, well, you can't pull that through because of the angle. You are correct. So first we're going to make the little piece for you to hold on to turn the plug. And to do that, we're going to use the circle or the center rectangle piece again, make the rectangle the right size, extrude it back, and then join it together. Then it's time to adjust the bottom a little bit, the plug a little bit. So we are going to make some holes for the plug to come in and out of. So for this, I use the center rectangle again, and just selected it and then did a circular pattern so that I had a total of basically 6 edges. I selected 3 of those and extruded them back into the body so that I had these 3 little cutouts, and these are going to be used later for the plug to come through. Here we're just working on the plug itself, and we're going to select those same edges that we just used, or those same faces that we just had made. We're going to extrude those back to create a new body, and we are going to use that new body as a splitting tool for the face. So from here we're going to go up to modify and split body. We're going to select the plug and then select the tool and click OK. Now we're going to turn off that tool and we're going to offset our plane 5 millimeters up to use this same splitting again, only we're going to split all of those bodies with the plane that we just selected. Now we're going to turn off the center body that we don't want. We're going to use a cylinder, and instead of using the cutting tool, we're going to change this to the intersect tool and click OK, and then turn on that body again. Now it's time to combine all of these plug pieces together into one, and that is your plug. I know that went a little fast, so if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. So from here, I just wanted to turn the plug a little bit for printing so that it printed not moving at all. So when you go to pull it off the bed, it comes off all in one piece instead of 2 different pieces. And then I realized that we were going to be cutting it a little bit close with these cutouts that we had done. So I offset those pieces another 0.5 millimeter and did the same patterning around, the circular patterning around, and then just edited the extrusion that we did in the first place. So if you right click and go to edit feature, and then I selected those couple of spots to add a little bit of width to those cutouts to make sure there was enough room in the first place. From there, your plug's done and your bank is done, but there's one more thing that we should do, and that is connect these together so that they print as one piece. And to do that, I made the tiniest, and I mean tiniest, little piece. It is 0.01 millimeters in depth and in width, and that was extruded out and joined together. And this is so small that you won't be seeing it on any printer, but it brings the piece together as one solid shape, or one solid STL file. That way you don't have to worry about moving things around as you're printing it. Now we can turn this to full opacity, and here is the final look. I ended up losing this part of my video, so I hope that you guys found this useful, entertaining, or exciting, and I hope that it was super helpful for you. If you have any questions or concerns, please leave them in the comments below. A huge thank you to my patrons over at Patreon. I could not do videos like this without your support. It absolutely means the world to me. If you have not subscribed, be sure to click that subscribe button and give me a big, huge thumbs up, and I will see you guys again next time.